about 40,000 eggs a day. Now, if you can imagine just how quickly they can eat through your whole house without you even noticing. What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today we've got a very interesting and scary video regarding this house here and possibly any house out there. If we have a quick look at this wall here, it looks like it's in perfect condition. However, there's one little sign here that you guys need to watch out for. Let's get straight into it, guys. Let's do this. So the issue we have in this house here is termite damage. You'd honestly never expect that there's termites present here, or at the very least they were present. They've all been treated, so they're no longer in the property or alive anyway. But we've got extensive damage throughout here. And if you look at these walls, you look at the rest surrounding area here, you'd honestly never think that there's an issue within the wall cavity or within the house itself. If we have a look, everything looks really nice here. Nice paint job, everything looks pretty good. Couple little signs. If we have a look down the bottom here, you can see there we've got a little bit of bubbling paint on the base here. Same thing along the side here. You'd probably just assume it's a little bit of water damage or a poor paint job to begin with. Patch that and paint it and you wouldn't think anything of it. If we have a look up on top here, up on the cornice, once again we've got a little crack there and we've got a little bit of damage on top. So if we try to peel some of that away there, you can see it comes apart fairly easy. And once again, most people would probably never think anything of that. You'd think it's just a poor paint job or a bit of water damage. And that's the issue that we're having here. So for a few years, nobody actually knew that there was an issue here. I'm going to show you guys what's on the back of this wall, the extent of damage that we've got throughout the cavity here. And I'll show you guys a few signs and a few interesting tips with regards to termites. So now we're on the back side of the wall and this here is the extent of the damage. You'd honestly never expect that there is in the wall cavity. So if we think back to where I was pointing out before, that's the little corner section there next to the sliding door. And if we have a close look at what's happened here, there's been a little party here, honestly, literally for years. Have a look at that timber, it's completely eaten away. Super interesting, especially because these external walls here are load bearing. So they're very, very lucky that they actually caught up to it after probably about a year or two. And that there is the extent of the damage. I'll show you guys a little bit closer up. We've got our base plate here, where our bottom plate completely eaten away. Our studs, there's honestly nothing left of it. But look how interesting all of these little patterns and everything is. You've got all the mud that they've left behind. This is where the nest originated from. So the nest from memory was down here somewhere. And what they did was they actually traveled up the wall, spread out throughout this cavity here. And what's super interesting is, I'll show you guys on the inside of the house, but they actually took just one direct path, ate that whole top plate up along here, that whole wall, which I'll show you guys on the other side. They just continued along, ate all the way along there, and then followed another wall down into the inside of the house. So they're very, very interesting creatures. I'll give you guys a couple little interesting tips about them. They actually don't sleep. So they work 24/7 for their whole life. They literally just sit there and eat. Well, they don't sit there, they continuously move, but they're always working away. Have a look at that. There's honestly nothing left of it. So the fact that nobody actually noticed on the inside of the house, just those couple little signs are just things that you can look out for. They're not the first point of evidence or signs that I'd be looking for. Most commonly you'd be looking for this mud here, so you can see all this little mud that they leave behind. On the outside of the house, usually you'd find a mud trail or a mud tube that runs from the bottom up along your brickwork and then enters into the house. So this is the kind of damage that they can do, especially when you don't know. They've got a very, very unique sound, and honestly, most people wouldn't expect it. I'll put a little sound clip so that you guys know what it sounds like. So just to give you guys a bit of an idea as to how much damage they can do without you knowing, one colony alone can eat about 6.5 kilos worth of wood per week. So 6.5 kilos is a lot of timber that they can go through in 1 week, and that's if it's only one colony. And the scary thing about that is that the queen can actually produce about 15 to 25 eggs per minute, which means that's about 40,000 eggs a day. Now, if you can imagine just how quickly they can eat through your whole house without you even noticing, it's honestly very, very scary. So the main things you want to look out for are just these little mud trails here that you'll find up along your brickwork. You want to check and see if you can hear anything through your walls every now and again. Also the wet damage, water damage inside, because they don't only eat timber or wood, they eat pretty much anything that's like a natural material. So they can eat paper, cardboard, which explains why they sometimes go through the gypsum up there as well, and you end up seeing some little signs inside your house. So anything that looks like water damage, it's always a good idea to get somebody to check it out for you, just to be safe, because this here is super, super interesting. A lot of damage all throughout here. And this whole wall here in the garage, so this backs onto the garage, this whole wall here has been eaten all the way across, and the internal walls as well, which I'll show you guys. But a couple of things that you need to keep in mind, they love moisture, so always try and avoid having moisture around your house and timber that's sitting in the ground around your house. Some genius here thought that it was a smart idea to direct the outlet hose or the drip hose for the split system air conditioner down into that cavity and straight into the subfloor. So that water's just sitting under the subfloor, and that doesn't help for keeping away termites. I love the moisture, keeping timber, even ventilation. So we've got a lot of vents that need to be installed here, making sure your weep holes aren't covered. I'll show you guys on the backside, the weep holes were covered. We're gonna have to expose that and install some vents as well. So if you have a look down here, that's the weep holes, the little slots in your bricks. And all the way up here, they've all been completely covered. So by covering your weep holes, no more ventilation, and water simply seeps straight through into that subfloor. But a lot of things like that, keep timber away from your house, make sure that you've got water always draining away from your house and not sitting in the subfloor. You don't want any moisture sitting in there, so that means make sure you've got good ventilation. But I'm going to quickly show you guys inside what it looks like inside the cavities. We've cut a little hole in a few little areas just to see how far the extent of damage was, and I'll show you guys another sign inside. So just quickly before I go inside, these walls out here in the garage, we've got a little external laundry here. Once again, you can see it looks like water damage, and if we have a look at these tiles here, they've actually come off the wall, so they're all starting to deteriorate. The adhesive is giving way, the base plate has all been eaten. So if you've got loose tiles as well on the base or on the skirting around your walls here, that's also another sign. So just always keep an eye out. Anything that looks like water damage isn't necessarily only water damage. It could be a lot more extensive than that. And now we'll go inside and I'll show you guys a few more things. So we're back inside the property now, and once again, this here is the damaged area that I've just shown you guys that's exposed on the other side, and you'd honestly never know. This is so surprising that this here is actually the back side where all the damage is. And if you have a look in here, they haven't actually eaten this section. So they started down here, originated down here, they traveled straight up, traveled all the way along that cavity there, and then they turned around here and they've basically taken this whole top plate off as well. So if we have a look in here, I'll just get the torch out quickly and show you guys what it looks like inside. So once again, if we have a look at the walls here, you can see all the studs, a lot of mud still all left inside there, and the patterns they leave is honestly unreal. If you have a look at the way they eat through all of this, it's unreal that they can eat 6.5 kilos in a week. But you can see up there all that mud. Hopefully you guys can see it there. There's all mud throughout the timber here. Once again on the other side, mud all over the place here. I'll try and get the camera inside so you guys can see. But if you have a look all the way up, you can see all that mud everywhere. It's all throughout here. And another little sign that we noticed here as well is if we have a look at the top of the corners here, you'll notice that it's actually separated right here. It's separated there and it's actually sagging. So if I move back just a little bit, might help you guys see it just a little bit more, but you can see there it's actually dropped right here in the middle, and the reason for that is the top plate has basically been eaten all the way across. So this whole section here has been eaten all the way across. These walls have to be all completely knocked out, everything has to be redone, and there's a lot of damage here that you'd honestly never know. So a couple key things to take away. Make sure your house is always ventilated well. You don't have any water ponding around your house. Look out for those mud tubes or the mud trails that you'll find up your brickwork. That's going to be probably the best indicator or the best sign that you've got an issue or termites in your property. They can fly, so some of them have wings. There's a whole different variety of different termites that you can have, different species. I'm not a termite expert, but they can do some damage. The fact that they can stay awake, they're insomniacs, so they're awake 24/7. They never sleep. They're always working away. 6.5 kilos of wood they can chew through every single week. That's just one colony, and that they can reproduce, or the queen can reproduce, you know, 15 to 25 eggs per minute is honestly scary and something to think about. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and it's something honestly I'm very interested in. I might look into getting some qualifications regarding termites, because this is super interesting, the amount of damage that they can do to your house. Always prevention is better than cure, but if you can't prevent it, you want to always be able to detect it. So being able to get on top of this before it gets to this extent, it's going to save you a lot of money, because the poor owner now is going to have to fork out a lot of money to simply repair something that could have been avoided. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video and you've learned something new. As always, like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching. Bill's out too.